everybody. Dylan Warren here. I got fourth place Gencon Online Regional with this Boo deck. Uh, I made a post about it, share the deck list. It's up on Deck Planet now. Um, I was meaning to do a deck profile and just share it with everybody because this deck's not quite as straightforward on how to play, and I figured I'd go over the event and give an explanation of the deck. There's been some profiles already, so I'll go over a little bit of the less obvious choices. Won't spend too much time on the obvious ones. So I'll just go through and kind of give explanation of the cards. God Slicing Kamehameha. This thing can counter 4 or less. The key is if we have the Unison out, we can play it for free. So as of turn 2, it's live as a free play. So hits a lot of things in the meta. Didn't play it a crazy amount, but when it's really good, it can win games. So having the access to it free on turn 2 is very good in this deck. Senzu Bean I play as a one-of. This is just for the few scenarios where you need to untap and go into either a beer ball or a candy. Didn't want to play too much. We're not very defensive in this deck, but having the one, a lot of times I would charge it maybe and pick it up with the Zeno or something late game. It's very good. The ratios on the 4 drops, they're all correct. You should always have 4 of these. This one, when you swing, you draw a card. So your leader, when a Majin Buu attacks, you draw a card. Additionally, if it's 4 less, you restand it. And then the leader can't attack for the turn. So this one essentially can draw you 2 cards, one from the swing and then the leader swing, and then it can swing again. A lot of people thought these autos were once per turn or limit 1. None of the autos on the 4 drops are limit 1 or once per turn. So when this swings, you can draw, restand it, draw again. This one, draw on the activate main, and then when it swings, you can make a Majin token and you can combo with Majin tokens in rest mode. The reason why you need the split is this one is times when you expect a counterplay, so that way you can get the draw regardless, since the draw is in the activate main. That way you don't really neg a card. This one doesn't draw till swing, so if you think they have something like a Chaozu counterplay in Kid Ku that can pop it, charismatic villain, etc., they might neg your draw here, whereas this Boo, you get the draw immediately no matter what. This 4-drop of barrier, super crucial. A lot of times counterplays like charismatic villain and Chaozu and Videls in red, they can't hit barrier, so you have to sequence wisely into what you think your opponent has. So playing this barrier comes in clutch a lot of times, and then the blocker, is crucial quite a bit as well. And then on top of it, he combos with a blue card from your drop on swing or block. So he generates Z energy. So against red, this is really important. 1, it's harder for them to kill. And 2, you make a bunch of Z energy, which you have to play around Explosive Dance. That card's silly. It's pretty broken. Shouldn't do what it does. But if you play your Z properly with this card, you can swing with leader, combo into it early, and protect your Unison. And then when you're underneath Explosive Dance, you can swing with this, pop a Z energy, and then combo with that same Z energy, restand with leader, swing again, pop the same Z energy, and then generate another Z energy. So it lets you get a lot of swings in underneath Explosive Dance. This one, I saw some of the other Boo profiles, and I agree this is the worst one in the deck. The only reason I ran it as 3 of was because when we go into the Kid Buu Z leader, sometimes your 4 drops are spent by that point. So I did go into the Kid Buu quite a bit, and I just needed to make sure I had a 4 drop to play off that. Post regional, I've cut this down to 1. I'm playing some of the 5th anniversary Boos to tutor. I'm playing with it. Not sure if I like it a lot or not. But this one definitely doesn't need to be a 4 of. I felt 3 was even too much. I did play it a few times, but only off the Kid Buu leader skill. I never actually tapped 2 for it. 17 Floodgate is a 4 of. I've said it a lot of times, I think Floodgates are the most broken things in the game. So, one cost Floodgate, we're just going to max it out. This guy's pretty crucial because he's your double striker. When he attacks, you can combo with a card 7 or less from your opponent's battle area drop. What's nice is if they run a pure 10k combo that's not a 0 plus like this and then gains the 10k, but it's an actual pure 10k like the Zeno, you can combo with it, which will generally make him a 30k double strike base. And you can also get cards out of your opponent's drop area, which is super relevant against like Kidku and Tapion. You can take their Bunny Bulma targets, and against like Tapion, if you play it right, a lot of times they'll have maybe one drop in the drop, and you can take it out of there, so they're not getting as much value. The super combo split, a lot of people thought was weird, but it added a lot of value. 2 of the draw super combos. They're generically good. 1 Kefla, mainly to respect U7, and then a couple other things like Go Hanks. They have some of the guys that can activate main restand, and then if you Kefla them, they don't get that extra swing or ability. So it has its niche value, but it messes a lot of people up and catches them off guard. And then 1 Zeno. So this is mainly for the bean, the candy, and the Beerus Destroys. Didn't come up much, but I think in 2 games I charged the candy, and then my opponent just kind of played optimally because they thought I was tapped out, and then I did like a Zeno super combo into a bean, into a candy, bottom deck their swinger, and took a lot of value away from their swing. So you don't play these every game, but when they come up, they're super relevant. So sometimes Kidku would like push a bit of damage on like their double striker and combo a little bit into it. And I think twice I was able to candy the double striker after they put a little bit of combo power on it, and it really just swung value out of their favor. Oob, I played at 3. It's super crucial in this meta, mainly for the drop manipulation. So against Kidku, I realized pretty early in testing that if you just minimize their Bunny Bulma targets, the matchup gets way better. Also, Tapion's kind of obnoxious, and if you take their 1-drops out of drop, makes them get a lot less value. So they're still a good leader, but if you can make it so they're not getting the free draw from the drop area on their combos, they're not plussing nearly as much, and it kind of evens the game out a little bit. So drop manipulation is pretty good right now. This adds a lot of value in the meta. Dimension Magic is just pretty standard staple blue. SCR choice is Beast Gohan. If you don't have Beast Gohan or you don't want to play it, the Boo SCR is a lot of fun. It's not quite as good, but you could do some cheeky things with it, like give it Quad Strike, Indestructible, and I play tested with it, and it's pretty solid if you want it as a secondary option. But Beast Gohan and anything mid range or aggro and blue is generally going to be the best option. 2 Child's armies. A lot of times we got stuck at 5 life, so the Sparking D Magic or the Child's army usually got us to 4 to turn our super combo live. That was the only thing I regretted about this one, but you can't play the Z Energy ones because you do burn your Z Energy pretty quickly. So we needed a way to take our life down. So a lot of people are playing the Oob 6-drop. I tinkered with that. But I found with the Dimension Magic and Child's army, normally those were enough. It was kind of rare that I just wasn't able to get to 4 life and turn those on. 1 Beerus Destroys. It just gives good combo power, board clear. A lot of people play the Kamehameha instead. My issue with the Kamehameha is a lot of times when you're going defense, you just don't get max value. So if like you Zeno and pick up into a Beerus Destroys on defense, you can get quite a bit of value from that draw. So that's why I went with that one, and it also can clear a target offensively. Secret ID Mass Saiyan, just because I think it's really good into 2, what I consider probably the 2 best decks in the format, which are Kidku and Tapion. I feel like those are probably the two best decks. I don't think Boo's the best deck. He's, if anybody knows me, he's my favorite character. So I actually had no expectation of topping or winning this event, but we did pretty well. But Secret ID can warp the one drops in Tapion. It can warp the skillless people in Red Goku. And in both those matchups, if you can control the one drops, you can control the skillless, then you can get value and even the game out. Because those are their main ways they plus a lot. And if you can minimize that, you can even the game out. The one of Broly was kind of cheeky. It was mainly for the Kid-Ku matchup. It pairs with the Pilaf. So the reason for Pilaf is I was playing the Boo one drop that looks at top 5 and can Spirit Boost combo. But I realized just a better cantrip is just probably Pilaf in this format. There's a lot of decks that want a Z energy on turn 1. And Pilaf can just kind of throw them off. They make them over combo into it. So ideally, when you go against Kid-Ku, what you want to do is on turn 1, you let them swing. They need to go into their extra card. You counter Pilaf, and a good Kid-Ku player, what they're going to do is they're going to combo 2 cards because they're going to know you're going to Pilaf one to the bottom, and then they'll put the other to Z to make their extra card. The one of Brawly was just so if you open these 2 on turn 1, when they combo 2, you peel off the one, you Broly the other. Now they can't awaken another turn. It doesn't seem like much, but pushing their awaken and their Z extra play one turn later really reduces the efficiency of their deck, and it's gonna swing it in your favor. And the last thing is the candy. So the thing is, I like to charge this early a lot, and then when you have the Zeno, or if your opponent just expects that you have another one, they have to play around it for the rest of the game. So even if you don't ever use this, once your opponent kind of sees it and knows that you have it, they can't combo high on a 5 or less. They can't push super hard because they have to respect the fact that at any time you could Vegito and bottom deck. So it's kind of there to bluff the threat, but at the same time, if they just if they're just not wise and they swing like the Kid-Ku double striker combo 60k on it to push damage, and you bottom deck it, it does happen where people misplay and just don't respect this card. So that's the main deck. This is pretty standard, but I'll explain the splits. This one you use the least, and the reason is when you go into it on defense, you don't get that untapped. So you have to go into it offensively, expecting that you're going to need the untapped. It is relevant in case you expect to tap out and then you want to be able to unlock an energy, but it comes up the least out of all the leaders. This one you're going to use the most because you can go into it defensively and offensively. So the cool part about it is when you do it offensively, you'll bottom deck a card at the end of the battle, and then it stays in play for defense. So now they have to kind of modify their swings to play around it to not let you bottom deck again. And then even then you could go into another one. You can't go into 2 on the same turn. The awaken is once per turn, but if you're already in one, they make it remove and then you go into another one. You can get another bottom deck, and sometimes people just play inefficiently into it, or they forget that you can do it on defense and you get a ton of value from it. This one is normally our first one we play. If we know it's a deck where they actually have to swing into our unison, not kill it by effect like green or red, we go into this, and then we can make a barrier blocker and pretty much make sure that our unison survives one turn. And we expect our unison's probably going to die. It's pretty easy to kill. But the idea is if you can have it stay on board for 2 or more turns, then it gets a lot of value. The Kid Buu, I was playing it more than 1, but I cut it down to 1 just because I never played it more than once per game. But this is a good late game kill card, and it also plays itself in active mode, which is super relevant because a lot of floodgates don't stop leader swings. So this gives you an additional way to generate another leader swing, which can really be useful against like Android 17 floodgate or explosive dance that are non-leader swings and what they stop on the floodgate. So he puts out bodies and he restands himself. Essentially, when you go into this, generally, if your opponent does not have a floodgate that turn, you kind of win. It's just so much pressure, especially if you have a beast Gohan on that turn. You're generally going to win the game unless you're under a floodgate. We only play two of the Unison, and the reason is it's a win more card. So the nice thing about this is a lot of people complain that it's so easy to kill the Unison, but the idea is this deck can function without it. Now you just have to pay one for your Z Unison, and you get a little bit less value on your combo without the activate battle draw. But we don't lose the game if they kill the Unison. It's nice if it survives, but we're okay if it doesn't. So we played two. Just, we defend it a little bit, and then if they pop two off the board, at that point we just abandon it and just go for playing without it from there. And the reason for two of this Unison, and it actually came in relevant, was mainly to respect Cooler Mill and Hatchiyak. You need a Unison Swinger to really get through those decks, or you need big bodies. And I'll go through the matchups, but I played Cooler Mill round 2, and this Unison definitely was the reason I was able to win the game. I played one, went into dual attack, and then played another one, went into another dual attack that they couldn't mill me or really interact with too much, and that pressure was enough to change the game. So I think 2 is right. You're not going to play them in most matchups, but you have to respect those matchups because they're very hard to win without it. This Heavenly Wizard Demigra, it's mainly in there just for the Vegito 30k barrier guy, and also helps against Shenron. Those decks are kind of hard to beat if you can't kill barrier early, and this deck really can't without this card, so this is your barrier kill. Isekai Keeping Watch. This is good for anything that plays stuff on your turn. It's nice because it's not a once per turn effect. So I sided this in mainly for Tapion. I didn't face it, or other decks that you expect to floodgate a lot, play battle cards on defense. Might get swapped for Koitsukai, we'll see. But I really like this card because Koitsukai gets kind of weird, where you have to combo into the drop, and then you have to warp it from there. And it's not a plus to hand. So Isekai's a cantrip, so you could play a turn 1, and then it's sitting there. And yeah, they might be able to kill it, but this can eat a target, right? So when they would minus 15 on your Unison and Kidku, or they would bottom deck a 4-drop with Tapion, now they have to target the Isekai. So it kind of redirects a target to itself, even if it doesn't get value. So pretty good card, underutilized. Tapion saved for another time. This was just respecting Blue Gogeta, which I did face round 1. It's just for the -2 to try to be able to kill the SCR. If we put the 5th anniversary booze in, we're going to put in the, I think it's Hunt of the Demon God, where it can negate the skills from drop. And we could play that instead. But I actually did side this in versus Cooler just to have another Unison. Against Cooler and Tapion, you want Unison Swingers, so it did serve a dual purpose. And then also Cumber SCR, where it can't be KO'd. You can negate its skills and kill it. So that's what that's in there for. Deborah's in there to respect green. Bitter Revenge of the Saiyans. This is pretty good against Vegito and Green Goku, where they have a 2-drop Unison that might be pesky or hard to kill. So this comes in to try to pop that off board. Burning Impact, very clutch, very good against Kidku. Like I said, if you can control their Bunny Bulma targets, it swings the game. Bunny Bulma's pretty insane. So 2 of the best cards in the game right now are clearly Bunny Bulma and Explosive Dance, and Kidku utilizes both very well. You can't do much around Explosive Dance other than swinging with your Buried Boo, generating Z energy properly. But into Bunny Bulma, when you use the Burning Impact, plus the Oob, plus your bottom deck abilities, you can limit their targets. So at no point did any of my Kidku opponents, resolve a super valuable Bunny Bulma. There were a couple that were able to get a cantrip, draw 1, and sometimes they had no targets, and Bunny Bulma actually became useless. So being able to burning impact, oob all their targets out of the drop, and then with this to bottom, Kefla to bottom, you keep all their targets out of the drop area, and it makes the matchup a lot more winnable. And then the last sideboard option was just a one of Borgos, Bardock's crewmate. Same thing in the blue mirror. It just turns off their D magic and gives them something pesky they have to deal with. So it's just kind of a one of tech to make the matchup a little bit more obnoxious for other boos. So that's the deck list. I'll give a rundown of my tournament matchups and how it went. So some of these might be slightly out of order, like this one. I don't know if this was flipped, but round one I played Blue Gogeta. This one, it was kind of weird. We had a couple ruling questions, and it maybe took like 8 minutes, 9 minutes for the judges' rulings, and we got a 2 minute time extension. So a lot of people were getting kicked from Discord. Uh, it was, I knew multiple people who got like booted out and received a loss. So I got kind of lucky here because I got booted out, and it made me verify my email address mid match, like at the last turn of the game. And I came back in pretty quickly, and the judge was already in there. And my opponent said, no, he's ahead. I don't want to be scummy. I want to finish the game. And he told the judge this and let us continue. And the reason why I felt bad is because we ran out of time, and our 2 minute extension wasn't enough. It's possible he could have beat me. Like, we were in like kind of like a 50-50 spot. He evened the game out. I had a bunch of negates in hand, but he definitely might have had a chance to kill me, depending. So I want to mention that because this one was kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to get to play it out. And I was lucky enough that my opponent did not just give me the game loss. I got booted out for maybe a minute or two, and he could have told the judge, no, I don't want to continue. I don't think that's fair. Probably could have given me a game loss here. Cooler Mill. This matchup was a little bit tough because we're battle card heavy, but like I said, those unisons swung the matchup and really gave me the chance to win. I think I played Kid Ku in this next round. Kid Ku was the deck I teched for most, so I kind of just controlled the drop, and did what I needed to do and got the win there. Trunk Zeno, I really like this deck. This one was pretty unfortunate. There was a point where my opponent added an extra card to their hand, and they had, what happened was, so I answered 17, I have Beast in hand, so I'm counting the cards in hand to sequence. They swing, the bottom one, they go to 6. They show me 6 in hand. I say, can you confirm cards in hand? They say 6. They swing, the bottom one. They combo one, go to 4. I say, can you confirm cards in hand again just to make sure? Should be 4. They say 4. They show me 4. They take a pause. They're looking in their drop. They're looking in their Z deck. They look in their drop again. And now I say, I feel like it's a little bit fishy. Like the way they were like putting their hand close to their drop. I thought it was weird enough where I called it out. I was like, hey, can you confirm cards in hand again? And they said 5. I said, no, it's 4. And they said, man, I remember telling you 6 and I remember telling you 4, but I really must have had 7 and 5. Like, all these cards should be in my hand. And I said, that's absolutely not true. I said, we both, you agreed, you said 6 and 4. I was counting all the time from a Beast Gohan. I don't know what number card you added, but you added a card. You shouldn't be at 5. We both know this. Getting you put one back. And so this whole back and forth took maybe like 8 minutes, and I didn't record this one. Should have called judge. But anyway, that's besides the point. We got to the point. He's got 0 cards in hand. I've got Beast Gohan. I've got a bunch of cards. And I can easily sequence for game, and we get time in round. And he gets out of my last swing that I'm going in by 5k, and he wins by having 1 more life. So, pretty unfortunate. Honestly, any card he added couldn't win him the game. He could pick a super combo, a SCR. It literally wouldn't matter. I still have game. Part of it was me being dumb and not sequencing that properly. Then I just kind of played all Kid Kus the rest of the event. They all kind of went the same way. The last round was pretty close. I faced Legend, so obviously a very good Kid Coup player, and one of between him and Duvall, probably the best two players in the game. We got to time, and I just walled up. I knew I couldn't kill him, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna wall up and give him a shot to kill me. I had Beast Gohan. I was under imposing and explosive dance, which I just didn't. I thought about it. I didn't think I could get the push, so I did Beast Gohan. I double stood two barrier blockers and sat behind the floodgate, and then I had a few negates in hand, and between those barrier blockers and my negates, I was able to make it so that he could not get my life down. So that was the tournament report. This loss was unfortunate, so I mention it just because this deck was very close to being undefeated. Did a lot better than I expected. I was literally playing it for fun. Boo's my favorite character. I think Kid Cou's the best deck. Tapien's probably the best blue. If I was solely trying to win the event, I'd probably play one of those decks. But I really wanted to have fun. I wanted to get a top with Boo. Top 4, pretty good. I'm happy with it. I wish I could have got the win for all the Boo fans that were rooting for me, and people that are in the Boo groups and chats with me. But top 4 is solid. I'll take it. Hopefully other people pick this deck up. They learn how to play it. Maybe they optimize it, and then I can take some tech from you guys and utilize it in my play. But yeah, there's the deck. Hope you like it. Hope to see other people playing Boo in other events.